Breaking news. What can be accomplished by a peace mission between Africa and Russia or Ukraine? Cyril Ramaphosa, President of South Africa, will head a group of 6 African leaders who are looking into ways to end the year-long conflict between Russia and Ukraine. His phone calls with Vladimir Putin of Russia and Volodymyr Zelensky of Ukraine preceded the announcement. Mission execution is scheduled for the month of June. Ramaphosa and the presidents of Egypt, the Democratic Republic of the Congo, Senegal, Uganda, and Zambia have launched an initiative that has been warmly received by both warring countries. Due to the economic costs, Africa is interested in this conflict. The cost of essentials like gas and groceries has skyrocketed. The African initiative has been both praised and criticized by a wide range of observers. For proponents, the issue is one of empowering the African people. An African perspectives would bring the necessary impartiality to break the impasse. While publicly declaring their non-alignment, many African leaders have secretly supported Russia's invasion of Ukraine. A critic pointed out that the UN Secretary-General's spokesman had previously warned that any intervention must be consistent with the UN Charter, international law, and resolutions passed by the UN General Assembly. Where can we find the truth? African mediators would need power to sway the warring parties toward a negotiated peace. There are none on the Ramaphosa team. However, the initiative paves the way for future mediators who can bring more authority and insight to the table. Despite his repeated invocations of the non-aligned position, Ramaphosa has developed close ties to Putin. South Africa has been accused by the United States of supplying Russia with weapons in December of 2022. In the United Nations General Assembly resolution on the war that took place in March 2022, South Africa was one of 3 countries that chose not to condemn Russia's invasion. The others were Senegal and Uganda. Abdel Fattah el-Sisi of Egypt is a strong voice for the AU's North African constituents. One of Africa's oldest presidents, Denis Sassou Nguesso of the Congo, is a staunch ally of France. No other credible leader exists in Central Africa. Macky Sall of Senegal led the initial African Union peace mission to Russia at the outbreak of hostilities. He brings a lot to the table with his understanding of the conflict. Uganda's President Yoweri Museveni is a supporter of Vladimir Putin, and he hasn't apologized for it. He needs a strong leader to bring him to order, as he has a tendency to ramble through historical details. Finally, Zambia's newly elected President Hakainde Hichilema in October 2021 embodies the optimism of Africa's youth. The team will benefit from his maturity and focus. The objective is research, not negotiation. Both detractors and advocates have incorrectly interpreted the invitation as an attempt at mediation. The mission will merely be an initial fact-finding effort to determine if the time is right for mediation and if the combatants are open to the idea. Pre-negotiation experts in the field of mediation agree that the mission statement is crucial. When this happens, impartial parties help the combatants recognize peace's merits. To this end, the African leaders will prove useful. Russia and Ukraine's economic situations are becoming more precarious, which may help convince them to end the conflict. If the African initiative is able to make it through this crucial stage, it will be an example of the power of weakness, with smaller countries using their relative power to pressure and cajole larger ones into making concessions that will ultimately benefit everyone involved. Their duties will be finished after that. For reasons I have laid out elsewhere, none of the African presidents, individually or collectively, have the ability to mediate the conflict. African presidents, despite their best intentions, simply do not have the time or energy to mediate conflicts between their countries. Attempts at mediation are typically laborious and time-consuming. A group of 6 presidents would be too large to effectively mediate a dispute. Appointing a small team to lead the mediation would be a mistake for the 6 as well, since the mediators would need extensive knowledge of the parties and the situation as well as fluency in Slavic languages. In many cases, using translators as mediators is pointless. Since so many potential mediators have already expressed an interest in the conflict, the African Six will have to hand over the mediation duties to one or two of them. Rather than the United Nations taking the lead, regional powers like Turkey and Israel could pool their resources to hire professional mediators. An alternative that would be preferable due to proximity and familiarity with the actors and issues is a Swiss-led mediation initiative in Geneva that includes the major regional actor, the Organization for Security and Cooperation in Europe, OSCE. Furthermore, it would expand upon the OSCE's successful Helsinki process, which was initiated in the 70s to diffuse East-West tensions. Restoring trust between NATO and Russia could begin with mediation led by participants in the Helsinki process.